If you enjoy this video, consider supporting us on Patreon for just $5 a month. Click on the card in the upper right-hand corner for more information.
Hey guys, this is Julian of Julian Gray Media. Yesterday I went to IKEA and bought a ton of furniture for the new apartment/studio. If you want to see my moving vlog, you can check that out in the upper right-hand corner right now. Full disclosure, this video idea was borrowed from Dylan Francis. He did an interview where he built a bed, I think 2 years ago. And I thought, when I came home yesterday, I'm like, how can I make a video out of this? I haven't been uploading too much, but I want to get back into the swing of things, and I figured an AMA is a good way to start. So today we're going to be answering the questions you sent me over all of my social medias, and we're going to build some furniture while we do it. If you missed the submission for the questions, make sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram so that you can get your questions in for the next AMA. We may not be building furniture, but I'm planning on doing more of these sort of things in the future. Without any further ado, let's get started. One other thing to mention, guys, if I occasionally go out of focus on this video, I'm putting my camera in like continuous focus mode, so it's going to be constantly refreshing to get everything in focus. So if I go out of focus at any point, I'm sorry. Let me grab my phone. That would be helpful. Okay, focus. So the first thing we're gonna attack is my shelf. I will get the box open, and then we're going to start answering your questions. Hefty boy. Okay, that's a big boy. Okay, we're good, we're good. Okay, question number one. This is from Instagram. Only Anvis asks, so did you play some Eric Prydz tunes while setting up the IKEA stuff? No, I can't do that because copyright claims on YouTube suck. Have you met Black Gummy? Yes, I have. Iman is the nicest guy ever. One of the most humble producers I know, especially for his size. And if you can meet him, I very much encourage you to do so because he is a great guy. I'm getting this like undone so I can get the parts out. You mean like now? Yes. How to properly send demos to labels. This is an interesting one. So I think the best method actually to get a demo to a label that, you know, may not answer traditional emails as much is to either befriend the artists on the label or to become a part of the community. I'm talking from my own experience here. Mousetrap's kind of hard to penetrate, and when I was trying to get on the label, what helped me, I think, is really making myself known in the community and meeting some of the artists on the label. So Mousetrap's one, and then 03, I kind of just got in direct contact with some of the artists and the label manager directly on Facebook. You can also go on like LinkedIn and stuff like that. Use their emails or contacts on LinkedIn if you're in their circle. Get a direct line of contact with some A&Rs for the labels you want to work with. LinkedIn's a very underutilized tool, and Mike Hayes taught me that. Shout out to Hayes Music on Twitter. Okay, so these are like the bottom parts of the shelf. I'm building like this, it's like a cabinet / shelf kind of deal. This is gonna be difficult. Gotta find the instructions. Christopher Jones on Facebook asks, is Julian Gray really Mike Langer / Meatport? Been wondering all this time. And my answer to that is everyone is Meatport. Do you use LUFS in your mixing / mastering? If so, what's your target output for the final render? I actually don't use LUFS. I've had enough luck with RMS and just traditional metering to mix without LUFS. I've heard that it's the best way to get an accurate reading of your music. 28mm loves LUFS. And shout out to him on Twitter. I kind of just go for a reference volume, whether that be whether that be a reference track or like the other songs on the album or release that I'm releasing. This is a lot of stuff. Okay, there we go. Finally out of the freaking box. On to the next question. What is the first CD you purchased on your own? That was actually Album Title Goes Here by Deadmau5. I had rented CDs and borrowed CDs from friends and gotten them as gifts, but the first one I actually bought in store was Album Title Goes Here, and to this day, it's my favorite album. Did they actually have all the right parts? I'm a little early in my process to tell you whether they have all the parts. I think I picked out the right ones. We shall see. Ah, dusty. See, I don't know if you can see this right now. It's kind of like a Lego set, just with real screws and stuff. Ah, don't go everywhere. Okay. Next question, Tim Zipperstein asks on Facebook, what happened to the chicken? Now, if you guys haven't been following my social media, I've become a bit of a chicken meme right now. There's this chicken outside of my house. Make this up. There's a freaking chicken outside of my house. And I'm even like selling t-shirts and stuff. I think you can actually buy one under this video. And this freaking chicken just kind of mysteriously appears and disappears outside of my house every few weeks. There he is again. Oh my God. He's just chilling right there. Or I guess she is just chilling right there. But I have named him Mr. Chicken, even though it's a female chicken. All I know is there's this random chicken outside, and I think the question was, where did he go? What happened to the chicken? I don't know. He's kind of a mysterious, mystical entity that disappears and reappears in his own time. So you'll probably hear from him in a little bit. Okay. Gotta screw those boys on. Hopefully I'm not doing this totally wrong, but I think I am doing it right. What's a pet peeve? I don't like people who aren't clean. Like things very clean and orderly, and I'm very particular about that. You can probably tell from my own music that I kind of explore different genres a lot. So one of my biggest pet peeves, actually right now at least, is people that hate on other genres that aren't their own. That's like very annoying. This is really difficult. Like, this shouldn't be this hard to screw in. But can you put it together? VapeChan asks on Discord with a frog emote, the Pepe emote. That's like a very like meta question. I really hope I can. Can I ask you a question? Cube is typing dab. That was the question. Slaps knee, got him. Cube actually sent me a few. I'm gonna answer a few of them. Which artists inspire you to make music the most? Addendum, which artists do you think influenced your previous and current style? I actually did a whole video on this a few months ago on my favorite artists of all time and the biggest influences I've ever had. My biggest ones are probably like Deadmau5 and Fleetwood Mac. Which artists inspired you to make music? Probably like Daft Punk, actually. I was really into them. This is like a really tough screw that's not going in. I might need to get another screwdriver for this. Which artists do you think influenced your previous and current style? I don't even know what my style is anymore. I've kind of explored so many different things that it's not really a one thing anymore. Deadmau5 probably influenced like the electro-y stuff, where like artists like 100 Waters and those kind of artists more influence my indie and slower, softer stuff, which is what I'm actually really enjoying writing right now. Julian Gray does dubstep in We Are Friends Volume 8. Yes, you'll find that soon enough, but it's a remix of Eddie's Healing. I actually played it in my For Lack of a Better Radio back in like May or something like that. And it's a dubstep remix. That's an old version, obviously, but yeah, which I don't even know if you consider dubstep anymore, but it's halftime electro then. Is it true Bound to Divide forces you to wear Basic Waves merch against your will? Of course. Bound to Divide owns Basic Waves, which is that like basic waveform shirt that I wear on my channel all the time. Greatest guy ever. He also is Jules, and he remixed my song Illuminate from my last EP, Illuminate. Do you ever assemble IKEA furniture and find yourself with a spare piece thinking, I hope this is an extra and not important? Adriana says on Twitter. I've never actually experienced that, but that really is a testament to how little IKEA furniture I actually assemble. I don't think that's any consolation to how well I assemble the furniture. Hopefully this will be a case of everything has its place, and I don't need to get like I don't need to take everything apart to reassemble it. So is Deadmau5 your boss because you're on Mousetrap? How often do you talk to him? In a way, Joel is the kind of the boss man over the label. I'm not like exclusive to Mousetrap. I've only done releases with them. I wouldn't consider him like my boss necessarily. He's more like a label figurehead. They are very two separate entities. The Dead Mouse stuff and Mousetrap. This shelf is not happening. I don't think I can get these screws in with this screwdriver. Okay, so the shelf isn't working. I can't get the screws in without a bigger screwdriver. The two screwdrivers I have are a little bit too small, so I'm gonna have to get a better one. So instead of the shelf, I'm gonna try to assemble my end table because that's all I got left. This is just an easy table. I think this would be easy as pie. What are some tunes you've been digging lately? I really enjoy the Japanese house's new stuff. I'm really into indie and alternative. For all of the dance music stuff that I'm listening to, you can check out my Spotify playlist. I update it like several times a week actually. Techno, electro, progresso. You can find that on my Spotify profile. So go check it out if you're interested in what I'm listening to as far as my electronic music goes. Have you seen my friend Gavin? Mandy asks on Facebook. No, but I hope you find him. That's kind of concerning. How much has knowing music theory helped you in producing? I would say that it's more of a subconscious thing for me because I learned it before I was doing electronic music. I was doing band stuff in high school and middle school and elementary school and outside of school even. And I had a lot of like music theory ingrained in my head from that. Get wrecked, the camera overheated. 1 second. I'm back. Sorry, my freaking camera overheated. But yeah, music theory helps a lot if you have a subliminal understanding of it at least. If you can write a melody that you enjoy, then it doesn't really matter that much. But I think music theory kind of adds a element of objectivity to it. You can utilize music theory to enhance your creativity, or it can go the other way where music theory kind of prohibits your creativity. I've seen that in a lot of people, and I kind of experienced that on some instruments myself, like trumpet. I can't play creatively like I play piano or guitar because it's been so engraved in my head from theory training. So take that with a grain of salt. I think it can help and it can be a nuisance to some people. So just figure out what type of person you are. If you're a technical learner, it might be worth looking into. Next one is also from Discord and it's also from Cube. What are your favorite and least favorite genres to listen to and or produce? What is your philosophy when it comes to the process of music production? For that question, I would say my favorite genres to listen to are indie, alternative, folk, and rock, actually. I'm not really into listening to electronic music. Like, I listen to a lot of jazz around the house. I listen to rock and alternative and emo around the house. And then produce, I would say, obviously, I enjoy producing house and techno and stuff. I also really enjoy producing pop records, like with vocals and piano and 75 BPM or 90 BPM stuff. So that stuff's fun. What is your philosophy when it comes to the process of music production? I would say just do what makes you happy and what you enjoy listening to. And if you enjoy listening to something, don't let people tell you that you can't make it, because you can. I kind of just bounce around different genres. I don't really agree with limiting my creative prowess to one genre. It's probably not the best for business and industry stuff, but I think that's like what music's all about. It's about being creative and exploring new territories and expanding upon your own inner Mozart. Next and final question I'm answering from Cube, because he asked me like 4 on Discord. If you can, without giving away any confidential information, how would you describe your experience regarding Mousetrap so far? What would be the most important piece of advice you would give to upcoming and new producers? Mousetrap's been very good. They're kind of a hands-off label, for better or for worse, meaning they don't like involve themselves in the PR and the promotion of everything that you do. It's kind of up to the management of the artist. That's where you have artists like Rez doing such different things than someone like Blue Mora or myself. Mousetrap's a distribution platform more than anything. They just distribute the music. Where some labels really like get into the depths of like, this is what we want out of this artist, or this is like our vision for the brand. They're very much like hands off. You do what you want, we'll support with distribution and whatever we can do as PR. And that's been my experience with them. So like, for better or for worse, they're hands off, and I do like a lot of the PR and promotion stuff myself. As far as distribution goes and getting my song out there to like different platforms and playlists and whatnot, they do a great job. And the guys at Mousetrap are really awesome. To up and coming producers, I would say just keep practicing. It took me forever to get anywhere, and it can be discouraging at times. I know that. You just have to work through those periods of discouragement. You'll eventually get to a point where it all clicks for you, and then you'll be happy in writing music like you just started, being excited again for, you know, writing whatever music that you're interested in. Because when you first start writing music, you're like a newborn, like you're excited for everything, and then that kind of fades away as you become, you know, a little more jaded and you're more into the numbers and stuff. But then you hit a certain point, at least in my experience, where that doesn't matter anymore, and then it becomes again about the music that you enjoy and what you want to be writing. So that's what you have to look forward to. Austin Anderson asks on Facebook, what is it like working with and for Joel with his label? Again, like I said to the other person asking earlier, Joel is kind of disconnected from Mousetrap. It's a great experience working with the label, but I don't really work directly with Joel. And I don't think most of the artists do unless it's like a personal collab, like Mr. Bill or what have you. And then any collabs soon? I have one coming up with Electricato. You'll hear about that in the future. I also have one with Deza. And that one's gonna be a banger. Come on, leg. Almost there. At least these go in, like the other ones on that thing, the screws don't go in. Luis Garcia asks on Facebook, when do you start producing? And talk about all the things you have achieved. Where did I put those screws? I started producing at like age 12 or something along those lines. I was DJing first briefly, and then I got into music production. There's a whole interview I did with UCLA that kind of answers all of those questions, and I'll put the link to that either in the description or in the upper right hand corner if I have any more cards at this point. I don't even know. I answer when I started producing, some of my musical background. Short answer to your question though is I started producing at like age 11 or 12. Come on! This is like a real actual workout right now. 3 out of 4 legs and my arms are freaking hurting right now. How do you go about planning live sets? If I'm doing an Ableton set, I kind of plan them a little bit more because you have to with Ableton sets. You really have to prepare your songs and get them ready to play. When I'm DJing, like in a club environment, it's as easy as putting a bunch of songs that I like on a freaking USB drive and then playing, you know, whatever key and whatever BPM live that I want to play. For my live sets though, I actually have a series of videos detailing how I put together my Ableton sets, which is a little complicated, a little bit more complicated, I should say, than a DJ set. I have a whole series on that. I think you can check that out on my channel. Guess what? We just finished the frickin' table. That was easy. Okay, Zin asks on Twitter, best advice on getting a following going as a super introverted producer in a city that isn't known for your style of music. I've been making music for about 6 years now and like where I'm headed sonically, but am having a hard time figuring out how to find an audience. That's a really challenging question. There's no like one answer to that. It really depends on what you want to do. If you're trying to write music for a living or like just be a studio rat essentially, it might not be in your best interest to actually pursue a DJing career. You say you're super introverted. Think about it for a minute. Like, do you really think you'd enjoy DJing and doing live shows and stuff? Not to say that you won't, but just something to consider. As far as if you wanted to do DJing gigs or something like that, maybe you can try to find friends that are doing a similar thing and build your own kind of community around the genre of music that you like. If it doesn't exist, and like the scene here in LA or whatever city that you're in only exists because of like-minded people that enjoy the same thing. So maybe you can kind of grassroots it and start it yourself. Okay, update since the last clip you saw. I just ran to the convenience store and picked up a better screwdriver. I managed to get all the screws in for the shelf, thank God. Why did the chicken cross the road? I'm officially the chicken man. If you don't think I'm the chicken man, you can unsubscribe. No, seriously, how do you get the serum to pitch bend and fade out like in paper planes? I believe I used the modulation wheel in serum to adjust the pitch, and I used the actual MIDI pitch bend. You can adjust the exact amount of cents or semitones that you glide between notes in the bottom left-hand corner where it says like +2, -2. You can actually adjust that to a full octave. So you can do like a and you can jump that whole octave, and I think that's how I did it in paper planes, and I may have assigned that mod wheel to the cutoff as well, so you get that nice pitch fadey effect, like or whatever I did in the song. I actually did a tutorial video specifically on that called Melodic Techno Lead in Serum or something. It's a very similar sound. I would check that out. Okay, Jared Raymer asks on Facebook, how do you balance simplicity while keeping a track interesting with not overproducing and diluting the musical idea too much? That's a really good question. When I'm writing music, I like to use this system of writing in octaves. I like to have one element in each octave, and I don't like to pollute my frequency spectrum with too many elements in any one given octave. I think that keeps it nice and simple and clean, like the way you're making me feel tonight. It allows for a perfect amount of elements, I think. As far as keeping things simple without compromising the musical idea, I think the real trick to that is to make sure all of your melodies and work like that are harmonically compatible and rhythmically compatible. Like, you don't want to have two melodies playing at the same time that are of different rhythms or playing different notes. It's kind of weird, and it never really warrants a good result. Catherine Casmill asked on Facebook, I think in the Mousetrap community, beef or chicken? Frickin' chicken is my answer. What's a genre we'd be surprised that you make/dabble with? I really like writing pop music. Wow, that's easy. Why couldn't everything be that easy? Do you plan on adopting the chicken? No, I think he's actually someone's pet chicken. Because I've like seen food out there for him. There's no way that he's not somebody's pet chicken. Like, there's not a random chicken running around downtown LA. A lot of people on my thing are like, I'll pick him up and eat him. I'm like, oh my god. Can you imagine having a pet chicken and then some guy on YouTube makes a video and then some random dude comes and eats it? That would be really sad. Do you play PUBG? I actually don't play PUBG. And I went to a PUBG event. They had a big PUBG event for deadmau5. He was in town in LA, and they did this big collaborative thing. My friend Zempra actually invited me, and they actually got to play. I didn't go up on the stage because I didn't want to go up there and not know how to play. It would have been very embarrassing, but apparently a lot of the people that they picked from the crowd didn't know how to play anyway, so it would have not been so bad. And my friend went up there and they actually finished in the top 5, more than deadmau5 and a few other players. So I can sit up front and answer some questions for you. All right, this is a good question that I get a lot actually. What is your main financial source as a full-time musician? My main revenue income thing right now, and what I actually do for money, is actually private lessons. I have upwards of 15 students, and they're handled through my Patreon account, and I basically live off of Patreon right now. So when I say like the importance of Patreon, it really is important because I do live month to month, and my rent is fully paid from Patreon, and my private lessons I run through Patreon. I'm also a freelance graphic designer, and I also do motion graphics, video, and mix engineering. So when you guys pledge on Patreon, it actually really does help me, and it means a lot. How do you mix your tracks in 2018? The same way I mixed them in 2017. I just kind of do it. It takes practice. What is the name of the chicken? Systemis asks on Facebook. Mr. Chicken is the name of the chicken, even though it's a female chicken. I still call him Mr. Chicken because I didn't know at the time. If anybody sees Mr. Chicken in the streets, you can say hi to Mr. Chicken. Steven asks on Twitter, duck, ? And I'm assuming he's referring to my chicken, so I don't know how to answer that. I just wanted to put that in the video because I really love that emoji. It's like one of my favorite 5 emojis. And when you put it there, it made me really happy. So that's that. Update on the chicken. Begat asks on Facebook. This is like the chicken AMA, not the IKEA AMA. He's doing great. She's doing great. How do you find your sound plus your artist's image? Benjamin Toporov asks, or Toropov asks on Facebook. Super common, but still interested. I think the key to having a good image or like brand around your alias, as far as like making an alias around a personal brand, is to really just be yourself, and whatever it is that you enjoy, kind of exaggerate it. Like let's say like Porter Robinson or Virtual Self. I'm sure Porter really enjoys video games and anime and stuff like that, and he exaggerates it in his brand. He makes it very apparent that that's what he likes, and I think the reason it's so cohesive and so fulfilling and so like wholesome of a brand is because of that. It's something that he truly enjoys, and the fans can see that instantly. Top of the shelf is on. I just got to put the doors on now, and it should be good. Next one is from John Davis on YouTube. An issue that I'd like to tackle with my own music is stereo width. Sometimes I nail it, sometimes it's a bit too focused in the center. My best estimation is that stereo width is both an arrangement and panoramic placement issue. I was wondering if you could speak to this and if there are any guidelines that you follow in order to achieve an awesome stereo image. I prefer to use traditional methods like panning or using a really wide sound. Don't dive into the world of imagers and stuff. That really gets cloudy. You don't want to really do that, at least in my experience. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is to get your sound sounding stereo before the mixing stage at all. Like maybe using a high unison or high detuned pad and serum or something like that, instead of trying to force it to sound wide in the mixing phase. Who are some artists you think are underrated? I think that Eddie is underrated. I think that Sudden Death is underrated. I think the Japanese House is an underrated artist. 100 Waters is underrated. There's so many underrated musicians, and it's hard to name them all. I don't want to like single anyone out. If you want to see who I'm really enjoying, again, check out my Spotify playlist. What drove you to becoming an electronic musician? I think that was just experimentation with DAWs, a love for music that was built up from being in a musical household. I was raised in music, and then I was trained in music for school. I was also in love with information technology, so when the two worlds kind of collided in the form of a DAW, it kind of lit my world on fire. It was like my favorite thing ever to do for a while, just writing music all day. And I wrote a lot of stuff back then. When I first discovered a DAW, I wrote a full album in like a week, and I couldn't even save projects. I had to like export them per session. Who's your daddy? Ruben asks on YouTube. Mr. Bill, obviously. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's gonna wrap the Q&A. I'm kind of out of questions, and this part requires a little bit more focus, but at the end of the video, I will put a part where this thing is finished so that you guys won't be left in the dark. In a few days or a few weeks or whenever I decide to do it, I'm gonna do a studio tour so you guys can see where I put this stuff. So, thank you for watching. If you wanna see the next AMA like this, make sure to check out the channel. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and follow me on all my social media so you can be a part of the next AMA. So I am Julian of Julian Gray Media. Thank you for watching again, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye. Here we go. Doors shut. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.